Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Hit Monkey Season 2, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we're picking up in the aftermath of last episode. I love where we start, where it is Bryce trying to fiddle with a whole bunch of salt because he's trying to solidify himself, just like he did with the Lady Bullseye situation in the season 1 finale. But the problem is, he had, as a ghost, he has his knee-jerk reaction of, his body pulls away from it, and because he's so scared of, how painful it is. The Lady Bullseye thing, it's well, she was doing it to you, so you had to make the most of the situation. Now you have to consciously, throw yourself into the deep end and use salt to try and materialize yourself in some shape or form. But while this is all going down, Monkey is trying to help with the Haruka situation because she will not let go of the sword. And it's cool. Then you have Eunice busting in, complaining about the whole Rosemary situation. And just when you think, okay, just everything's happening at once, you have Hit Monkey getting overwhelmed because it's pretty overwhelming. Everyone's yelling, being torn in so many different directions. Eunice wants you to fix this situation. Well, you can't remedy the situation. Rosemary's dead. It's right, you're kind of screwing with our business, which is screwing with my business. Bryce wants to try and talk to his daughter and mediate things because he thinks that the way Monkey handled things last episode blew up in their face. It's well, that would have happened regardless. And then there's the Haruka situation of her possessed and saying she's going to dig up your father's grave and devour him. And then lo and behold, a giant grabs her. You're what the fuck? And it's yeah, which obviously I'm currently playing Final Fantasy 16, so obviously what's going through my mind is icon stuff. It's just the timing's just interesting, but also it's more specifically just because of how big it is. It just makes me think of Titan, which I just beat, but tangents and all that aside. So now they have to chase after him. Once again, I like the thought of okay, so what does everyone's transformation look like? It's interesting because Bonsai Master seems to be the least changed one. All he put on was samurai armor. That's it. Whereas everyone else has full blown transformations. Charles from last episode and the guy from the end of last episode, we see now turns him into a hulking giant. It's actually a really pretty badass sequence of just them rushing, trying to get to him, and doing kind of a slingshot with Bryce using a pole or whatever to slingshot Monkey at the giant. They kind of overshoot it and then still manage to climb on top of it. So can't get him to let go of Haruka, who's so in her transformation that she's swinging at them wildly. Because that's also the thing too. Maybe no, because he took off the armor and stuff, but he still had the sword at the end. But then he dropped the sword. I don't remember. I'm about to say Haruka's transformed way more than Bonsai Master did. I just thought about that. I was all right. Either way. Then we have our trio of misfits show up. What was it? Double Tap with the little girl's Dot. I can't remember the stone woman, what her name was, but I'm this. I was oh, okay, we're pulling very. Once again, I'm not well versed in comics, and I think this whole show is filled with people you wouldn't be well versed in. The only person that's popped up in this show that I'm aware of was Silver Samurai, and that's only because he's been in a movie. I think wasn't he in Wolverine and the X-Men? I believe he was, because I think some of that deals with the Japan stuff in Logan's story. Either way, tangents and all that aside, he's the only one. So these other characters, I'm these must be bottom tier characters. Because someone correct me, Hit Monkey himself, and I might even talk about this in season 1. Hit Monkey has only been a creation in the past decade, and even then he hasn't been in the comics that much. Probably other than that graphic novel they were recommending at the end of the episodes in season 1. I just don't think he's popped up that often. I don't know how often he's used at all in the comics, but So, like, he's already kind of a very obscure character, and you have even more obscure characters around him. So I was like, I don't know if we're supposed to, like, these are just heroes I'm not familiar with. I guess it's like that kind of gives you license to kind of do whatever you want to, because it's not one of those main heroes that might pop up in a movie or an animated series in the future. So I don't know if it's a thing of these are the characters they specifically wanted to do. Are they pulling a James Gunn of like, yeah, let's use some characters literally no one wants to use or was planning on using, so we're good? Or is it just like, yeah, we kind of had to scrape the bottom of the barrel of what characters we could use just because Marvel gave us the go-ahead of what characters we can and cannot use? Specifically, Marvel Studios probably gave them. I don't know. But either way, the little girl, Dot, is talking now. And I guess her power is just, well, I wasn't sure if she had, like, telekinesis or whether she's just super strong. Seems like she's super strong. She just, like, ripped the giant's thumb while, like, Double Tap is doing his thing below, and so is the Stone Lady. And it's just, like, it's such an interesting squad of misfits. Bryce and Monkey go inside the thing's head trying to, like, shoot its brain, but even with their gun, they can't get through, like, 100-foot brain. So Bryce uses goes like, oh, what we have to do is make the giant drop its weapon. So Monkey was shooting, like, the nerves that would force it to drop the weapon, and it does, and proceeds to shrink down. But it's like, well, Monkey's still inside, so I was like, are we going to have an invincible situation here? And then it turned out, luckily, not to be. Could have been, but luckily it didn't turn out to be. I was like, that's good. Especially as he's shrinking and that his head is still bulbous. You're like, oh, that's so uncomfortable. That's so uncomfortable to look at. And pop. It's like, Jesus, the body horror of this all. Because the squad wasn't going to help Monkey, because this was supposed to be kind of like a test of sorts to see what he's capable of and if he's someone that can join them. And as I even love, like, Double Tap making fun of him, being like, oh yeah, Monkey shaves and suits, like, isn't that a little gimmicky? And she's looking at him, he's like, dude, everything on me is, like, pretty much necessary. He's like, except for, like, the American Eagle belt, because he's like, oh, that's just cool. And she's like, is it? So yeah, we get introduced to the rest of this squad. I forgot what's their name, like the Assassin Cooperation or something like that. I'm probably butchering it. It's Assassin something. It's a rogues gallery of former assassins now turned savers of the world, because they are an organization going up against the Aldermen. So the person, like last episode, I was like, okay, so there's only 3 left, so there's 5 that are dead. We know Bonsai was one of those people, and Home Dude was another. So I was like, what happened to the others? I was like, could it have been Akiko? Like, could that be what she... It's like, no, turns out they're responsible for killing... I mean, well, really 4. Because the only one that Monkey killed was Bonsai Master, but they've killed the other 4 because Dot killed Home Dude the last episode. So, Charles, last episode. Is it Charles or Charlie? Whatever the case may be, Home Dude from last episode. But yeah, like, interesting abilities. The leader is able to read minds. There's the other dude. He's his brother, so I guess it is his actual biological brother who can, like, make things disappear. They had this whole conversation about, like, don't just relegate it to, like, reading minds. He's like, what if I just said you make things disappear? He's like, I do. And then they, like, they absorb in my mind and disappear. And he's just like, okay, fine. I read minds. So, I was wondering, would that even work with the Bryce of it all? But it seems like it doesn't. It seems like he can't communicate. I almost thought Dot would be able to, because I thought she was like some ghost kid. We have no idea what her circumstances are. But yeah, they're all former assassins now turned heroes, because we now have insight into the Aldermen. We learn that a village person, a farmer, found this, like, transcendent thing a long time ago. People came to the village, killed and snatched it, and forged 8 weapons from it. But the problem is that those people turned on each other, and eventually, I think the weapons eventually got scattered, and everyone turned against each other. And now it's like they were scattered in winds, and different people picked them up over the years until the Aldermen came about, and an order existed that gathered up the weapons to try and control the world from the shadows, the secret society thing. And so, I don't know if this is the same group of Aldermen. They've just kind of existed this entire time. How long they've been doing their thing, orchestrating, pulling things from the shadows. or is it kind of like a family lineage thing of like it's gotten passed down mantle to mantle? I'm so curious about that. I'll probably for now I'll just label it as like it's the same group the entire time. Not unless they have like proteges that they pass these down to. But like, would they trust anyone else if it wasn't like a family legacy thing? Like it feels like would you as a secret society, well, in their particular boots, other secret societies sure pass it down family lineage wise, but like I don't know if the aldermen would be in that position. They feel like it's like no, we hold the power and we're never letting go. We're not going to give it to anyone but ourselves. So we'll see. We don't know like whether they're like, but they're definitely not immortal. It could be a thing of they have longevity but not immortal. Like they have immortality but not like invulnerability. Meaning like yeah, they can die. They just live for a very very long time. So. But yeah, our assassins are gathering up the weapons because they're trying to use them all to bring about healing the world. That's kind of their plan, which is like, oh, very beautiful, very altruistic. But obviously, you watch enough stuff, you kind of get a little skeptical, and you're like, yeah, that's probably not going to work. Either when, in your attempt to do it, you're going to cause more harm than good, or one of you is going to break bad and end up being like, yeah, I actually had this plan all along. It's probably most likely going to be the leader of the group being like, ha, I got you guys, probably betraying his brother, or his brother's a part of it too. There's no way it's going to be that altruistic. It's just got to be like nah, it's definitely someone's going to break bad and be the bad guy and try to rule with absolute power. Just because each one of these weapons corrupts, and obviously it's still got a hold on Haruka. Like it's entangled itself enough in her soul that she seems okay for now, but even then, still being separated from the sword, like it's still calling out to her because it's basically kind of connected with her now. So we'll see. Haruka might be an issue they'll have to deal with, but for now, she seems to be okay and has everything under control. So it's interesting too because obviously this group speaks to Monkey because it's like, right, they got tired of killing and they still have to do a little bit now, but it's like once we do this, we can get rid of killing forever. Like he's like, we've all been in your shoes, like feeling lost, feeling like not purposeless, but now it's like you feel like this gives you a goal to work towards. So it doesn't just feel like you're killing just for the sake of killing. It adds more heroicism to your kills, that there's more to it other than just ridding the world of bad guys, because that's still weighing down upon him. So because Bryce is coming from this perspective when it comes to this group that no one can solve your problems but yourself. And obviously he was kind of speaking on himself because he's trying to fix things between him and Iris in this moment. But you kind of can't look for others in a solution like this. Like he's like, I get it, killing is weighing heavy on you, but you won't be able to kind of rely on other people to be your... Because, I mean, he's also kind of had to rely on himself for so long. He has these connections and stuff like that, but he's mentioned it before. The only friend he has is Monkey. As he says, it's a duo. Sometimes we flirt with this whole being a trio type of situation, referencing Haruka kind of pseudo being a part of the squad and everything. But yeah, his attempt to get to Iris kind of blew up in his face. I mean, he didn't even have a chance to say anything. Monkey didn't say anything because Iris was frustrated because it's like, hey, you opened up this whole can of worms bringing up my dad, the dad who abandoned me, who wasn't there for me, never taught me how to ride, never ride a bike, never told me how everything was okay, especially when my mom was dying from chemo. You're like, okay. And I had a feeling just because the mom hadn't come up in the conversation, I was like, she died, didn't she? And that's, once again, that's the rub of it all too. It's like, there's so much she has unanswered about her dad. And I guess just, once again, I think I said this last episode, in order to protect her daughter, she probably never told her the truth about why Bryce left. It's still kind of the selfish thing, but it's also like, at the time, it was the only thing he could do. He did everything he can to make sure that they were okay. He left them that bag of money from Elwyn. So it is a thing of she won't know what he did, sadly. And he pours salt on himself, and she's able to see him, but she freaks out, gets fired from her job, even though, like, whoa, there's this ghost here, and the guy, like, her boss was already riding her ass a little bit. He seems like a hard ass, but with everything going on, I'm like, are you not noticing that? And just the Bryce scene afterwards is heartbreaking, where he's just in the, like, that room, and he's just throwing stuff around. And lo and behold, here comes the devil with sweet opportunities, talking about, like, kind of want, do you want to kind of renegotiate our deal? He wants more than what because doing the Casper the Friendly Ghost thing isn't working. It isn't enough for him to repair things. He's like, I want my daughter to know and understand why I did what I did. Which she's like, nah. Devil's like, I can't like change it. I can't force it, but I can nudge her in the right direction. So Bryce, he's like, cool. Basically, give me my own body back. And it's like, cool, you can for 48 hours. What I thought was interesting is he said you can turn it on and off. So the 40, I can only assume because of that phrasing that he can stop the timer anytime he goes back to his ghost form. But after that, it's like, well, what's the price that's going to be paid? And he's like, whatever it is, you're not going to want to give it up, which... That's the thing. Bryce is so, I mean, he's been called selfish time and time again. And it's like, right, you trying to deal with the past. You're thinking like, right, I'm willing to pay any price. Like, what's left to pay? It's like, yeah, but who's to say you'll pay the price directly? There are people around you now, even as a ghost, who would suffer those ramifications. Those people being Haruka or Monkey. And I get the feeling Monkey might be the price that you're not willing, the thing you're not willing to give up, you know, so... Or maybe his soul, or maybe even like the price might be you have to give up Iris or Iris's soul. That's the thing. You never the deal with the devil. There's always the fine print you have to check out. You know, so we'll see how that goes. And obviously, he presents himself to everyone as a human, and he takes off. So. Yeah, because like Haruka and Eunice are bickering again about everything. Eunice is saying like, right, you're my this like either you work with that assassins group or you work with me. You can't do both. You know, she's like, when you work for me, it's mutually exclusive. But Haruka's pushing him to work with the assassins group just because, well, for one, she's trying to figure out how this all ties into everything that went down to Tokyo. And so it's a lot. Everything, once again, back to where we were at the beginning of the episode. The end of the episode literally mirrors the beginning of the episode where Monkey's kind of torn between the three people in his life, Eunice, Haruka, and Bryce. But their circumstances of those tugs are a little different at the end of the episode, but still remain the thematic same. And then lo and behold, we see Akiko, which maybe not next episode or maybe next episode, but one of these episodes has to show us like what she's been up to for the past 4 months. Like, because Monkey's only made news recently because of this whole giant thing, so he's gotten a lot more attention. And I love that, like, okay, like when it cuts to her with the whole Lady Bullseye thing, everything is in black and white, but then like the other side of the screen is Monkey and it's all in colors. I thought that was I just thought that, like, cinematography wise, I was like, oh, that looks pretty dope. And the framing of it all, which, back to the point I brought up previously, is like, it's such a bummer because it's like Akiko, anger and pain will make you irrational. It's like, if you notice, he had the gun. Haruka even said like, oh, when did he get my gun? Like, but for Akiko, it won't matter. Once again, you were fine and dandy with him killing people, except when it came to this person, because once again, it's because it was your family member, despite the terrible things he had done. He'd even admitted to killing and orchestrating Ken's death, but because he was your family, the only family you had left, you're like, no, spare him, let him just go to jail, at least he'll still be alive. And now, because she'll never have the opportunity to like I think, forgive him, because now it's like he won't be around for her to talk. Like, there's a lot to it. It was just a lot, the revelation about everything that he did, his death, and now it's like, cool, like your mind broke. But once again, there was probably already some darkness there. This situation just brought it to the surface. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this, where the next episode takes us going forward with all of this. And also Bryce's circumstances, like in particular, like how is that going to shake up and work out now that you're back in the flesh? And it's like, well, will people try and hunt you the moment they find out you're still alive? It's like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that want you dead. So we'll see, like I said, where all this goes. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.